you're special for me because when I come in and I didn't hear your chanting, I was beginning to feel bad. And I told Drona, find him, get a phone number. I got to get in touch with him. So I appreciate that. And now you're connected at the Lotus feet.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
And the devotees should also bless you. You know, all the devotees, they should also make sure that they pray for your well-being.
This is all because of the good association, Prabhuji, because of the Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas, and by the blessings of the Vaishnavas and blessing of the Srila Prabhupada. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to senior Vaishnavas, and because of that good association, we got inspired, and we got enthusiasm in that, and we got energized. We inspired, saying that like we have to go more and to more, so that we can get more mercy and knowledge, and so that we can try to purify ourselves. So we do not know anything. So just we are trying to get some mercy of the senior Vaishnava, Srila Prabhupada, and Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.
Take shelter, and that's what each and every one of us should aspire for. You know, in that progression of Rupa Goswami's from just coming to the table with a little faith. That's all that's being asked of us. But the good association, it picks us up. And from that good association, we make the commitment to take shelter of the lotus feet. One of the items of knowledge, taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So that is what we need to do. And you're blessed anyway. You're blessed.
Thank you.
So Prabhuji's, I guess I gotta give you some nectar. But I gotta tell you something before I tell you anything. I'm not wearing my headset this morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Guess
hear
what? I can hear you too, because I'm wearing my hearing aids.
That's good.
A great time.
That's good.
I joined the seniors club and I got my hearing aids in now, The only thing left to come is the cane. The cane's coming. So it's just nice. I can hear you and I can hear the holy name. But I guess I said I would give some drops of nectar. So I'm going to go and grab a few. Hope I don't mess it up too bad. Okay, Kriti Krita Chitasam, Jamanasam, Uchtat Tanam Chamhasam, Achandalam, Amuka Loka, Sulabo, Ashash, Chamuki Surya, No Diksha, Nacha Sakyam, Nacha Parashtrayam, Magnam, Ikshite, Mantro Yam, Vasana Sprig, Ava Pavati, Sri Krishna, Namat Maka. Some of these are hard for me. The holy name of Lord Krishna is an attractive feature for many saintly liberated people. It is the annihilator of all sinful reactions. And it is so powerful that, save for the dumb who cannot chant it, it is readily available to everyone, including the lowest type of man, the Chandala. The holy name of Krishna is the controller of the opulence of liberation, and it is identical with Krishna. Simply by touching the holy name with one's tongue, immediately effects are produced. Chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activities, or the first trial, regulative principles generally observed before initiation. The holy name does not wait for all these activities. It is sufficient. It is self-sufficient. And this is from Lakshmi Dar. And this is Punjabi, reading this from.
Haryasva Prabhu, before you continue, I'm not hearing you so clearly. I don't know if anybody else is having the same.
Yeah, Prabhuji, we are also hard time to hear you. So
No,
you
no.
seems to
Mute,
be on
mute. You're on mute.
You are on mute now.
No,
No,
no.
no.
Unmute, Prabhu. Unmute.
You are on mute.
Just ask them to unmute, but I can't unmute them.
No.
Oh, because that,
Ah,
how is it now?
now it's good.
Much clearer.
Little louder.
Okay,
need-
mother?
You need to just say little loud.
No, just
It's low,
try to-
low.
Microphone up to your mouth more.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Vichayani, Vichayani, Vichinyani, Puna, Kripanasya, Dhananiva, Twan Namani, Bhavantuna. O Lord, just as a miser continually collects, counts, and rewards his money, in the same way, let us continually collect, count, and remember your holy names. This is from Sri Bhavananda. And here's one easy for us. Nam nam akari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrapita niyamitak smartane nakala etadrashi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi dudaivam idrisham ihajani nanuraga. Oh my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there are all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them, my dear Lord. Although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen, conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy names, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So those are just some little drops of nectar, and then it's going to go. Well, we might as well use it. And then it will
Haryasva
the
Prabhu,
holy name
now there's
to
some crackling.
and so glorification of the holy name. Oh, that's what happened. Can you hear it better now?
There's crackling in your microphone, Prabhu, so I think it's just getting a little loose. So we'll get you an upgrade.
Wait a minute. I know what it could be. Wait a minute. Because can you hear it better? Can you hear it better now? Oh.
It's
Hare
think it's just the microphone.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, have we finally lost the microphone? Tell me.
I think we may have.
I hear you, Drina. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
It's static. I can hear you, but it's static.
You think-
I think the microphone's going, Prabhu.
Well,
We'll get you an upgrade.
yeah.
Maybe move it
So
away from your face.
somebody who's
Maybe
got
move it-
some intelligence out there.
No, we can't hear you.
Or can we go back without the headset?
We'll have to.
Let's try it.
Huh?
Let's try it without the headset.
challenged technologically. I'm just challenged. Can you hear me any better?
Yes, it's a little bit in the distance. As long as you look at the microphone, I think we'll be okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Let Grandpa do his thing. This is so funny. But I'll put it back in. You know I'm not good at this, okay? Well, first of all, we could chant, whenever things get crazy like this. Govinda Virahe Govinda Virahe Govinda Okay, how we doing?
Okay. I think as long as you speak loud.
Okay, I'm going to give it the best I've got. So, since we're so close to this one, we might as well do it. Finana Pisuna Chaina Taro Eva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadagadi. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give all respects to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, drops of nectar, the holy name. So anyway, I think today, it was okay that we read from Nam Rahasya last week. I wished I had figured a way to get a book because I love it when you can help me. But I'll just have to read to you. Now, if there's anything you want me to do, you just let me know. So today I'm going back to Nam Rahasya, and I'm going to talk about two types of chanters. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur described two types of sadhakas, practitioners, in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita, sixth rainfall, third shower, the preliminary and the continuous. Preliminary practitioners increase their chanting gradually until they chant constantly without break. When their practice reaches this stage, they become continuous chant practitioners. Devotees in preparation or preliminary devotees do not yet possess a real taste for chanting the holy name. They still suffer from the bitter contamination of their almost beginningless ignorance. But by steadfastly chanting and counting a fixed number of rounds on their tulsi beads, they eventually attain the continuous stage. Because they sincerely try to improvise chanting, their natural respect and affection for the name grows. Then they do not want to give up chanting. The wonderful side effects of this glorious stage are that karmic reactions, material desires, and the root of both, ignorance, are destroyed. In other words, the road becomes free. It requires faith, determination, and ultimately attraction to Krishna to gradually increase our chanting. All this and more is gained by association with advanced devotees. There is a law operating in this world that can be called the law of diminishing interest. This law refers to the phenomenon that enthusiasm for a new practice eventually spoils and lessens. For instance, despite the initial excitement almost all of us experienced when we first began to chant, we may notice that practical, even urgent situations seem to constantly present themselves and demand our immediate attention, even when we are in the midst of our spiritual practices. Doubts also begin to settle in. Or we may notice that material energy has placed yet another of her millions of obstacles on our path. As a result, we find our attention diverted from our spiritual pursuits. Sometimes we simply lose interest in them. The law of diminishing interest is unfortunately as pervasive in this world as the law of gravity. If we see ourselves coming under the Lord's power, we will find it tremendously helpful if we have already made a contract with ourselves to protect our wise commitment to the spiritual side of things. This contract is called Nirbandha. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states, Nirbandha means that a practitioner should chant this 16-name, 32-syllable Maha Mantra or Tulsimala 108 times. Chanting 4 rounds is called one grunta. One should start with one grunta and gradually increase the number to 16 gruntas, or 64 rounds. That will make a prescribed number of 100,000 holy names. By gradually increasing the number of holy names to 300,000, one will spend his entire life simply chanting. All previous acharyas have attained perfection by following this order of the Lord. This is from the Harinam Chintani, chapter 12. This then is the traditional way of progressing from preliminary chanting, and it gives us an idea how important it is to fix a certain number of rounds as a regular daily practice. By making this determination, we can definitely progress on our way. Another helpful practice for those who aspire to become more absorbed in chanting and thus more attached to it is to chant congregationally with mridangas and kartals. Congregational chanting quickly binds the mind to the holy name. When the mind is bound to the name, the Lord becomes responsively bound to the devotee's heart. Chanting with other devotees allows us to experience a special type of joy, a joy that encourages us on our path. Govinda, Hirahena, Govinda, Hirahena. Oh, feeling your separation. I'm 15 moments to be like 12 years or more, tears to fall from my eyes. I torn to break, and I'm feeling all vacant in this world. I'm not there. But we get sentiments, we get reflections of how nice it could be if we were attached to Krishna. I often say we're in an environment which is not conducive for spiritual practices. This is a bad age, it's a bad time. Our mind is with us and, not so interested at all. And every time we think our mind is behaving itself, we turn around and it tries to throw you in a ditch. The mind is not our friend. And the holy name can purify that mind. The holy name is so powerful that it can dissolve not just the mind, the entire soul body. This is the power of associating with Krishna. And a point that was made earlier is that we want to associate with those sadhakas that have the fire burning within their heart. And that their heart's fire becomes transferred to our heart. And within our heart, we too begin to experience that love for Krishna developing. But it's a practice, and as we continue to do it, as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was explaining, we go from the practice to continuous, to spontaneous. And what this is so far from my level of chanting, but it gives me hope because all of us are always looking for a friend, someone that we can really trust, someone that we can love and that loves us in return. We've got that friend. That friend is right there in our hearts. But somehow we're so distracted. Our faith wanes and our attention goes, and we forget how we were searching, how desperate we were when we came upon Krishna consciousness. That there was something that we needed. We were aware of the lacking. And only through the process of Krishna consciousness, like chanting like this, you forget that anything was ever happening like that. You forget, because as you become absorbed in the chanting opens up more and more to us, our identity. It opens up the relationship. In other words, as even in a low stage, as we chant because of regulation, because of obligation, then we feel a certain satisfaction from fulfilling the order of the spiritual master. Every time you finish that 16, you feel. But sometimes when we're chanting, we too are tasting. We're chanting, and when we are aware, instead of just mechanically, when we're aware that this is my time and that Krishna is here, and we're prepared, we're not tired, and we're in a prayerful mood, and we start calling those names, we hear them. And as we repeat it, we hear it, we repeat it, and all of a sudden, you don't want to stop chanting. You want to continue to chant. And that's the blessing, that's the mercy. There's so many things that are going on in the chanting you have. All we have to do is bring ourselves with faith to the table. And the process of Krishna consciousness is so amazing. We'll talk about that another time. But it's so amazing that before you know it, your faith has become stronger. Your nardas, those unwanted things in the heart, they become less. Your things begin to change. What is changing? What is changing is that the process works. It works. And instead of worrying about the material desires, we begin to develop spiritual desires. We develop a desire to hear, a desire to serve. And this is all from chanting the holy name in a very solid, respectful, humble way. Those early prayers, we chant them a lot. But chanting in the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking of ourselves lower than the blade of grass. It's hard. It's hard when you think you're in your body. It's hard when we think with our mind. But it's easy when we know that we're spirit soul who's abandoned his relationship with Krishna. And he has the opportunity to rekindle it. It becomes easier. You say, Krishna told Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he told Arjuna, you're not your body. Your spirit soul. He explained that. Arjuna understood it. She said, just do your duty. You didn't have to do anything extraordinary. Just do your duty. What's our duty? Our duty is to chant these names and to consider ourselves as servants. So it's nice. It's there were other points here, but if I can, I like the way he closed here. He said, another helpful practice for those who aspire, to become more absorbed. Maybe you're happy where you're at, but if you want to go deeper, then he says, chant, get some friends around. Congregational chant with mridungas and cornfields. And I was speaking to Dronacharya yesterday because, soon we have to do, it's our turn for the sadhana aspect of the Vaishnava etiquette and Vaishnava behavior. And I told him when I came to the movement, I remember this one phrase in Paramakaruna. It says, Kevala Ananda Kanda, that this process is simply joyful. So to me, if you get those cartels out in that Madunga, if somebody can play the harmonium and we just sit and chant, it's a festival. It's a party. It's joyful. We're calling Krishna, call and response. We're playing. The same thing we would have done as fruited workers, but every note purifies us. The absorption and Krishna becomes balance. Anyway, I think that's very nice. So we can stay conscious when we're doing kirtan that this is an extension of my job. This kirtan is a glorification and absorption in Krishna. Okay. Initiation, is it necessary? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that while formal initiation may not be necessary, it is essential to accept a guide if we wish to practice Nam-bhajan. The Bhakti Shakti we need to give our practice life travels through the heart of those devotees who have unflinching and exclusive faith in Krishna. The mere letters of the name may be had at any place from anyone, but the profound and unknown truth that is hiding behind these letters can only be exposed by the grace of a true spiritual master who is purely devoted to Krishna. The grace of such a spiritual guide alone can help us pass over the early twilight of the name to the pure light of the divine names. In this way, save us from the 10 offenses and keep us from the true service of the name. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati therefore in his Nam-bhajan. Only if we receive instructions with blessings will we be able to chant with attention, enthusiasm, and genuine joy. So, it is the transfer of the devotion and its connection. It goes from his heart to your heart. And we're connected. And on his order, we're chanting his names. So we're chanting those names with blessings, with grace. The pure devotees, all they want to do is give love to God and have us go back to Krishna. That's all they want. They don't want any gifts, anything fancy, sweet words. They want to make sure that we are connected again with the Supreme Lord. That's their service. That's their duty. So it's important to be connected with the power of God. And as a person becomes serious, this takes place. So I have a question. I've had so many nice parts to this book.
Haryasva Prabhu, it seems like it's going on. It's becoming, and you're giving such nice talk on the holy name Nam Rahasya. It seems as it's going on, at least from my computer, and I have my volume all the way up. It's
just not hearing me. What is the problem is me, because I'm becoming so relaxed with it, and because I can hear now, my voice keeps dropping. The problem is me. I'm used to speaking loud.
Yeah. Right now I can hear you fine because you're close.
I'm speaking loud again. But the problem is I keep getting relaxed into what I'm reading, because now I sound like I'm screaming a little bit, but it's okay. It's fine. But you're doing a wonderful service, Drona, by letting me understand the real purpose is that we can share this together. I put earphones on. The Devaki Preeti. She says she put her earphones on and it made it easier. Thank you, Mother. I read something finally off the computer, you know. I'm like really backwards. But so let's see if there's anything out there that we can talk about. You know, I just think it's one thing to read, and I appreciate it, but you should say something. Either that I don't want to hear that anymore. What you know, let's just talk a little bit about what we've heard or what we want to hear, where we want to go with the Holy Name. Okay.
Prabhu, can you summarize? You started off by saying there's two types of chanters. Can you summarize that point?
Yes. That one chanting is in practice. You know, he's chanting the holy name, and this is really like almost like Vaidhi Bhakti in that process. He's doing it, but he's also increasing. He doesn't really have a taste for the holy name, but he's doing it. But as he increases his japa, as he increases his number of rounds, the taste begins to come. And he becomes listed like the continuous chanter. The other chanter that we're speaking of is a person who's already absorbed those elevated great souls who 24 they're absorbed in the chanting of the holy name. The holy name is the constant companion of the continuous chanter, whether he's chanting on beads, whether he's chanting in kirtan, whether he's chanting within his mind, he's constantly absorbed. So those are the two types. One is practicing with faith and determination. The other one's already there. But the one who's not already there, if he's very careful in his practice, then the process, I was going to save you this for you though, the process is so powerful that those anarthas, as we heard, those anarthas, the ignorance, it becomes wiped out. Why? By the grace of the spiritual master and Krishna. The understanding of who we are and who we're dealing with becomes clear. In other words, the grace factor begins to take place. Why? Because you're dutiful. By being dutiful and opening our hearts and adhering to the instructions of the spiritual master, he blesses us. Bhagavatam, Veda Twam Somyatat Sarvam Tatvatat Tadanugrahat Gurus Nigasha Shishasha Karavo Guyum Apyatam. And the sages of Namni Sharanya, they told Sutta. They said, and because you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle and learned disciple. Now please scientifically explain to us all that you've learned from them. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, practically the first line, he said the secret to success in spiritual life is to get the genuine blessing of the spiritual master. He said this is the purport of this verse. So we want to be blessed. And we're blessed by hearing the instructions and following them. The Vani, along with the instruction comes the power, the empowerment. But the submissive student, he's submissive to the instructions of the spiritual master. In good faith, even when he says, I'm weak, I'm fallen, I don't have the strength. Half of the time, I don't have the determination. That's attractive. Because Krishna sees. Remember the sparrow. Sparrow is determined. If the ocean didn't give back those eggs, I'm gonna dry you up. Give back those eggs. Give them back. So the sparrow started, drop after drop. Everybody's laughing. But when Garuda heard about it, and Garuda decides, give back those eggs, or I'm going to come and I'm going to dry you up immediately. So on his behalf, Krishna opens it up for us. And the real situation is that we're engaged in the process. It's an evolvement, It's a transformation. So we come from practitioners to spontaneous chanters, but there are those who've already attained that situation. But this is the blessing of both Guru and Krishna. It's not our technique, it is the blessing. It is grace and mercy which enables us to go further and further and further. Is that part clear, Drona?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you for that summary.
Thank you. Okay, Can We Talk? You know, we do a program called Can We Talk? And we talk about other things. But my point is, can we talk about the holy name this morning? Mother Chintamani, tell me?
Jai, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I was just jotting down the whole time, but what you were sharing with Drona's question is so beautiful. Wow, when you said that the grace factor comes in, why? Because we're dutiful, so the spiritual master blesses us. Wow, can you speak more about what you also said earlier about how our chant? You said we're chanting with blessings and grace. Can you speak more about you said about the parampara and the pure devotees are actually blessing us as we're chanting. Can you speak more about that?
Yeah. The chanting, after we, the whole point of coming to the point of bhajan kriya, that we decide that we want to take shelter of a spiritual master. What happens in that exchange? In that exchange, we sit before the fire and the spiritual master asked us, so what are the 4 rules? And every day, at least 16 rounds, good rounds, of trying to avoid the 10 offenses on beads, and as many extra rounds as possible. So in that order, he just gave you. In that order comes his blessing. He's blessing you to be able to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
It just has to be that you're accepting it. Krishna says, and you know how difficult it is in this world and how many obstacles come on our path. But Krishna says that you will be able to cross all the obstacles of life. He said, if you remain conscious of me, if you stay aware of me, you will be able to cross over all the obstacles of life by my grace. If I'll ever disregard these teachings and act out of false ego, back with the body and mind, and, contaminated intelligence, not adhere to my instructions, then you will be lost. So the bewilderment is out there. The covering of the influences of material nature is there. The suffering from the 3 kleshas is there. But the grace of the spiritual master, focusing on that order and trying to chant those names nicely, the empowerment is there. And it's all by the grace of, by the grace of the spiritual master, Mukam Karoti Vachalam. A lame man can cross mountains, and a dumb man can become an expert orator. How? Was this my scholastic capability? Was I? No. You were blessed. So we always see like that. Remember, by our good fortune, we were wandering everywhere, and then we meet, by our good fortune, we meet a person in Krishna consciousness, and a spiritual master. He comes and he plants that seed of devotion, as by the grace of Krishna. So Guru Krishna Prasade Pad, the mercy of Guru Krishna, Guru and Krishna, Prasad, that's their mercy. And what is being installed? The Bhakti Lata Beach, seed of devotion. So it's powerful. We don't see it, but it's working like that. And then as the modes of passion, ignorance, as they roll back, we begin to see things from a different perspective. We hear differently. And as we come situated nicely in goodness, we think, I really have to become serious. We don't think, well, now let me worship the demigods. No. We think, I really have to become serious. You know, I don't want to misuse this human form of life. And we look at our spiritual master, the mission, all of us should understand whoever gave you Diksha is wonderful. Whoever you're taking shelter from is wonderful. Who did he get Diksha from? Who did he get Shiksha from? So Srila, whose books are you reading? Srila Prabhupada's footprint is all over our lives. So he is there for each and every one of us. It's not just he's the spiritual master of our spiritual master. He's our spiritual master. We just have to understand what that means. He'll never be our Diksha Guru. We're not impersonal, but he's our Shiksha Guru. We can have many Shiksha Gurus, but Srila Prabhupada's Shiksha will never go away because his Shiksha is in our instructions. His Shiksha is in the books. His direction is everywhere. And then we have our spiritual master. That doesn't make our Diksha Guru a lesser person. Without him, you're not connected. So he's just as powerful. Because now, look what he's given you. He's given you Prabhupada and Krishna. This is the potency. So we have to see. But we have to, our connection, our common denominator, just like our common denominator for all of us is Krishna. All of us are connected together with Krishna. And similarly, all of us are connected together with the grace, the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. So that's it for me and my 2 cents.
Jai Haribol, thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Jai. Thank you.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu.
You know, Prabhu, if I can say, when you said Srila Prabhupada's footprints are all over our lives, that was such a good visual. So I'm going to just kind of keep that visual, that Srila Prabhupada's literally, his footprints are all over us and our spiritual masters there assisting, and what mercy. So thank you so much, Jai.
You know, remember your grandfather, you know, your dad, you say, hey, what did I tell you to do? Now, you didn't do that right. Your dad's always, you know, keeping you in line. He gives you some love, but grandpa, no matter what you did, come on, get right up here, You just jump right on grandpa's lap.
Yeah.
Tell me how you're doing. What's happening? That's Srila Prabhupada. The blessings are unlimited. We just have to take advantage of that relationship. I often tell the story about the Supreme Court or the High Court judge. Everybody, when they want your honor, you know, the honorable so-and-so's come out, everybody stand. It's just such awe and reverence. And he's looking at you, okay, sit down. He gets a phone call. Hey, buddy, it's his friend. We want to do some golf today. Yeah. I'll meet you. So, okay. It's another call. Honey, I want you to stop and pick up the bread and eggs on your way home. Okay. That's there. But then when he gets to the house, and his grandson is over, and his grandson says, come on, horsey. Come on, horsey. And there's his honor, you know, on the ground, on the floor, all fours. His grandson jumps on his back, giddy up, horsey, and he's scooting across the floor in bliss. That is the relationship. So the relationship is that the senior, the grandfather, is enjoying the sweetness of seeing the happiness of his grandson. That's the extent that he's going. And we don't want to jump on Srila Prabhupada's back. We're not foolish. But his mercy is unlimited. The closer you look into Srila Prabhupada, you realize he didn't come for a few people. He came to change the world. He came to to make sure that we could snatch them all up. Why? Because that is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya wanted to take them all, and Lord Nityananda is pretty good at it. He's pretty good at making sure that this mercy goes out. So try to not just see our pathetic plight, but see how far the mercy is coming, and with what great abundance it's coming. That's all I think. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu's, I guess we were okay today. I wish I could have done more, and I keep hearing my voice drop. By next week, me and Mother Brindavaneshwari have been talking about my computer, and we're going to do something by next week, okay? By next week, it's going to be working better, or it's out of here. So that's it. Cub Scouts honor. I didn't make it to the Boy Scouts. I'd already become contaminated. Okay, Drona, so should we stop here?
I think so. I think this is a good stopping point. Thank you. We'll continue tomorrow with our Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning. Join us for Japa. We begin at 6:30. Yeah, we're still in the holy month of Kartik. So please keep that. The thoughts of Kartik and Damodarastakam. Things are a little more difficult now. Things with COVID are starting to pick up. They've been picking up. I think we're able to handle it a little bit better than we were in the spring when things were out of control. But things are a lot. You look at the numbers and things are a little bit worse. We're going to send out a little bit later today, kind of some updates on protocols at the temple. But regardless, we have association here in the mornings over Zoom. We can chant together. We can reach out to devotees in so many different ways. So it's really important that we remain connected, as we go through these next couple of months. Okay, let's.
Okay, Vaishnavas, Vanchakalpa, Trubhyascha,
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for the nice association.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the class and the nice association.
So Haryasva, I wanted to let you know this. You're with Satsrup Maharaj in the mornings, but Mother Vindhyavali, she's out on the West Coast. So she gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to join us every morning at 7 o'clock.
Krishna's mercy.
So I just want you to know that. I thought you would.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for all the association. I'm so much blessed.
I watched for initiation, You're blessed. But Sheshika Prabhu, he was so kind to me. So if I can be kind to his disciples, great.
And from morning 4 o'clock till the evening, I just keep on listening. And from here also, I have lots of classes. So I attend those. So I spend my time.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you very much for the nice class, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Taruna Prabhu.
Thank you.
Taruna Prabhu, I sent some message to you.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll reply. Thank you.
Am I okay? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.